guys.
Hello guys.
Welcome to this week's episode of the DMC. So our topic for this week is toxic environments. So my definition or my idea or whatever you call it of a toxic environment is an environment or a situation where nothing comes out of it except for negativity, where you can't be yourself, where there is hatred. I hate hate, but where there is constant hatred, there's constant belittling of a person, but wherever there is an influx of negativity and hatred, to me, that is a toxic environment.
I think for me, a toxic environment is an environment that makes you sad, that takes away your happiness. An environment that makes you feel like you're less of a human, less of a woman, less of a man. An environment that says you are worthless, you are nothing.
It makes me sad. But yeah,
that's a toxic environment. An environment that says
you're not good enough.
You're not good enough. We can never be better than this. An environment that you're unable to move from point A to point B. An environment where you're unable to grow as a person, that you like stuck here. You can never move, you can never do anything because you feel like, no, I cannot do it.
Because I've been told so many times I can't do it.
I'm literally all this. I can never be anything better. That's what I think about toxic environments. And I feel like we live in a toxic environment generally. Schools,
especially because of the growth of the internet and social media. You're always so afraid that someone is going to say something bad about you or say something bad to you.
Exactly. You always feel like you need to prove a point. And that is very toxic if you're going to live your life based on proving somebody wrong or proving them right about yourself. Not living your life according to how you want to live it. Just because you want to impress the next person. Toxic environments in universities. A university is such a toxic place.
Someone posted I think it was Mutipai. She posted a status a while ago. I really don't remember if it was a screenshot or whatever, but I saw it on her WhatsApp thingy, and it said universities take plagiarism more seriously than they do rape. And I was like, that is so true.
That is so true.
That
is so true.
That's a little bit scary to think that if I was raped by someone on campus and I reported it, that they would get like a slap on the hand, on the wrist, and if I plagiarize, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out.
And my thing is, with rape, it's gonna be such a drag to work on the case. But plagiarism, they contact you now.
Because
you go to a disciplinary hearing now.
Not tomorrow, girl. Now. And they are very, very, and I understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that students should copy or that plagiarism is justifiable. We are not saying that. We're just saying it's a little bit toxic if, I mean, I don't know how to put this, but if an infringement of my human rights is less serious than plagiarism,
like plagiarism, you should just tell me that this is not good.
Because I mean,
this is not your work. Go do something else.
Right? How many times have there been hate crimes on campus? Be it racial, be it gender-based, be it whatever, and people get away with it with a suspension, with, I don't know, some kind of a fine. You plagiarize, you out.
Also, think of it this way. Most people end up plagiarizing because of the pressure.
Because of the toxic environment.
Because they feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much work. I'm gonna have to copy this one because I have. Imagine, you have a test coming up tomorrow. You have an assignment to submit. You have an online test to do.
That sounds
You
like,
have a presentation to do. Like,
that sounds like us next
do
week,
they
actually.
exactly? Do they think we are just machines? They can just press the buttons and then everything will just work itself out.
And I think also there was the Tepang, the founder of this mental health campaign on campus. I'll call it an association. He was talking about how universities are very toxic environments because no one is ever aware, or especially the lecturers, or is ever intentional about keeping in mind the mental health of students. We're expected to carry out a certain syllabus, we're expected to carry out a certain number of credits and do things and so on and so forth to get our degrees. But sometimes the way that universities go about it,
no.
I personally, like, it's not just the thing with university, I personally don't agree with the structure of the education system, mainly because I don't learn well in a test-based environment. So when that is my whole primary, high school, varsity, that is everything. So I had to learn that I have to get through tests, and that's just it.
And there's really nothing you can do about it.
And I also don't learn well in an environment where I'm sitting. You have seen me in lectures. I can't pay attention to one person just preaching to me. I can in church though, which is just weird. But that's a different topic. But it's, for me, it's not a conducive environment for me to understand and to be. So that's why I always have to come home and then teach myself everything again.
And now, for somebody who cannot do what you said you can't do, and then they expect you to, during a test or an exam, they expect you to take everything that you read from the textbook and just put it down. What the entire?
They just want you to just
why
regurgitate everything.
Again.
And then when you do it, you plagiarize it.
Thank you. Also, I feel like we pay a lot of money to go to school. We pay a lot. And I feel like it's unfair for us to have students who do not have accommodations.
Okay.
Yet we pay so much.
My heart.
But imagine, and that environment is toxic on its own, and now you have to deal with not having
being
a place
homeless.
to stay, being homeless.
Let's call it what it is.
Exactly.
You're homeless.
Being without food. And yet we pay so much. Why don't the university say, okay, fine, we're going to build this, even if it's not anything fancy,
guys.
anything, just a roof.
But yeah, because I mean, we
roof.
have students that really honestly don't have a place to live, and it breaks my heart to think, and it breaks my heart to know, because I've seen these situations firsthand, and I will tell you, they will bring you to tears. Where you have a student, let's say, that has a bursary that pays for tuition and books, and that's it, and they don't cover accommodation. If they're lucky, let's say they cover meals as well. You have students that live at the study log, not out of choice, not because they're trying to save up, but because they have nothing.
And
they have nowhere else to go, and that is all that their bursary offers them. And then the universities can't do anything for them. That hurts.
And that is like putting a rock on top of everything else that's already there.
I mean, imagine, guys, I have a place to live, so I can't imagine having nowhere to. My place, my house is my comfort. It's my place to distress when
everything else is going south.
Because I mean, sometimes you have those weeks where it just feels like the world is falling in, like everything's just breaking in, and I need a place to relax. I need a place to cry if I need to cry. I need a place to sleep it off. Imagine not having that.
And be expected to pass a test.
And you can't even tell your parents at home, because I mean, your mom will just be like, come home. And you know that your mom saying that is not out of a bad heart, but it's because
they just cannot deal with the fact that their child is suffering somewhere. No.
Because I know a friend who says they once were in a situation where someone, a guy on campus came up to her when she was studying at the logs, and then was like, I know this sounds, you know, a little weird, but can you please buy me, just even if it's a small packet of chips and like a loaf of bread?
Man.
And he was like, he hasn't eaten in the past 2 days.
Oh my god.
Because he has one of those bursaries that pay for his tuition, but he doesn't have a place to stay or money for food. And even if his parents give him like money, he can't afford to buy food to cook because he has nowhere to cook there.
Oh my gosh.
So he has to buy food every day.
And that is expensive.
And that's expensive. And so she bought him like a large packet of chips and a loaf of bread, and then he was like, thank you, this is gonna last me at least 3 days.
3 days, Bobo.
Yo!
No, well, universities have to deal with this situation. They have to do something. No, actually, this university that we're in now, they have to do something about it. I mean, we cannot have homeless students when we pay that much.
And when you think about it, it's a thing that happens. There was a video recently of students at Wits, not recently, in January, who were writing their reassess exams, and they were sleeping at the logs because they couldn't stay at res. Because you know, like if you stay at res, when res is closed, you pay extra. So I'm guessing either they couldn't afford to pay that extra, or res wasn't. I don't know what it was, but you know that your reassessors are in January, and these students is.
No, they need to deal with this situation as soon as possible. They need to meet students halfway. We're already suffering as it is academically. We already, now you have to deal with all this. No, they have to do something.
I think we've touched a nerve.
Like I feel like now
I think we've touched a nerve, because now I can feel it. I'm just like, I'm gonna cry, but I'm not gonna cry. Toxic environments, guys. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Toxic environments in friendships.
Yo, we got toxic friends for days. We do.
Them backstabbers, them liars.
People don't think it's real, and it's real.
It's real.
It's happening.
We see you.
We see toxic friends every day. Those ones that don't want you to prosper. They don't want to let you shine. They are constantly saying bad stuff about you.
But push me through the course. I want to push me through the course. La reusa. And then it's, you know what, if push me through the course, that's fine, but at least be a good one, like a loyal one. Not if you're gonna be a liar, if you're gonna only use me for my smarts. If every relationship, every friendship, it's so easy for it to get, not easy, but I mean they get toxic very quickly. And if you don't deal with that situation,
then it's a mess. Have you had a friend that say you're going somewhere, right? And then you feel like you out today. Really, you know, like, friend, how do I look? Like, you're good, but maybe you shouldn't have worn that t-shirt, or those pants are not it. And then you're like, okay, fine. Also, my thing is always the way they say it. Just, why don't you just say, friend, you are so pretty, oh my god, but don't you think this would have been better with that?
You know what I think is toxic? When a friend says, don't do this, and then homegirl goes and does the same thing.
Same thing. And they don't realize, once you say that to me in that manner, you're breaking me. I'm not gonna feel the same way ever again.
I mean, if you have a friend that's not sensitive towards your emotions, or doesn't care about how you feel or what you're gonna say, yo, reevaluate that friendship.
She's toxic.
And I mean, I am very open to constructive criticism. Everyone should be. But there's a difference between constructive criticism and beating me down. Now the moment you're just constantly beating me down, no.
Because some of them, you can never be good enough
That's
for
very
them.
true.
Never. Because I know we are allowed to have other friends. You know, if I'm friends with you, I'm allowed to have other friends. You're allowed to have other friends.
It's toxic if I want you to myself only.
Thank you. That is not okay. And on top of that, you don't make me feel great when I'm with you. And now you wanna trap me
in that
this,
little, but I wanna own you.
You wanna own me, and then on top of it, I'm not feeling good about myself. At least if you own me, I'm like, you know, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's already toxic the fact that I'm trying to own
but
you, but at least make me feel good about it.
Exactly, make me feel good about it. At least every time, say, French so beautiful.
You know,
you're so smart. You know, we should do this.
I should make you want to be mine alone.
Thank you. But now, if you're gonna trap me in that little box and then make me feel shit about myself,
when I'm that kind of friend, give up on a guy with an abusive husband or an abusive boyfriend, it's the exact same situation. And the thing that I think people don't get sometimes is that a friendship, and I think we said this on the last episode, we said friends can break hearts, but a friendship is also a continuous relationship. I always have to make the effort to make you feel loved, just like you would a boyfriend.
With a boyfriend,
you know, if you're gonna give a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever your non-binary partner a lot of attention, and you're gonna make an effort to always make it nanty, why can't you do the same for your friendship?
I used to have a friend, right? This friend of mine, she claimed that another friend of mine that she used to know was her cousin instead, right? Not her friend. But the things that she would do would make me believe that she actually wants her as a friend, not a cousin. Because she was so jealous that I'm friends with her cousin, that she'd go through a cousin's friend to see what we've been talking about, and then be the answer. Why are you talking about this? Why are you doing this? Where are you going? If we plan to do something or go somewhere, like, why are you going there without me? Girl, sit down. And then my thing was, okay, if I'm friends with your sister, she's your sister, we have a total different relationship.
That is so true.
And then my thing was, why is she acting like this? Because she's my friend, she's her cousin.
So now this person is jealous.
She's jealous, and then now she starts saying things about me to her behind my back. She started creating fake stories that I've said this and that about her, just so we don't continue as friends. And eventually the friendship ended. It was over just because of her. And then I thought she was my friend. And now tell me, how was she expect me to be friends again with her after finding out that she did that to me? Because I was like, girl, you're not gonna be my friend anymore. If you're capable of doing this, then that's a very dangerous person. Exactly. That means you are a risk in my life. You can do absolutely everything, and then just think you can get away with it. I'm not gonna be your friend. After this whole situation that you created,
I am calling you out on your nonsense.
I am done.
Hello, friend.
Like, bye-bye.
No more.
So, do you understand? People do crazy things just in the name of friendship, and I think
it's people that have either a sense of ownership over your life, or people that need to belong so badly that when they don't get what
I think she wanted to belong. Exactly. And then I was like, this person is so toxic in my life. She's toxic to herself.
Yeah, I was about to say that's when someone starts getting toxic towards themselves as well.
Towards herself, and I don't need that kind of negativity in my life.
You know what?
Negative vibes, no.
She needed to go through a process of self-love and self-healing to learn how to love herself, and not to, because it sounds like someone that needed to feel loved from the outside for her to feel validated. And the moment that
seeking validation from everybody but herself. And the moment
that starts happening, you need to self-evaluate. Something is wrong. You can't expect. Yeah, you can't expect love only from the outside. Love is an internal and external force.
Also, I feel like it starts internally before it can go
externally. And loving anyone, I remember, I don't know if I read it or if I heard it or if I came up with it. I never know. but I remember, or I'll just say, loving someone is one of the most selfish and selfless things you can do. It's selfish in the fact that you expect it back. It's selfish in the fact that you need certain things from it. I mean, if I love you as a friend, I need you to love me back. If I love you,
same effort.
Exactly. If I love you as a friend, I need you to show me. I need you to do certain things for me. But it is also very selfless in the fact that I am willing to give you a part of myself. I am willing to make you happy sometimes.
To make a room for you.
Yeah, I'm willing to make room for you in my heart. And sometimes I'm even willing to go as far as putting you above me. So my thing is, if love starts getting to a point where it's just selfish, it's starting to get toxic. If it's at a point where it's just selfless, because that's one-sided love, where I'm just giving of myself to a point where I have nothing back, that starts getting toxic.
And you need to
do
away with it.
You need to do away with it.
Do away with it.
Because I think we are so quick to see toxic environments from the outside. That's a toxic friend. That's a toxic boyfriend.
But what about you?
But what about yourself?
What about you? Have you actually thought about yourself and how you might have contributed in that?
I had a point in my life where I realized I was very toxic towards myself. It was mostly internal. And I'm glad I saw it early, where I was like, hey,
stop.
Wait, homegirl, you gotta love your damn self.
Stop.
When I realized that I loved everyone else around me more than I loved myself. And I was okay with that. And I beat myself up about every single thing. And it was getting to a point where, looking at me, I had no love for myself. I had nothing positive to say about myself. I had nothing good to say about myself. And I realized this is starting to get a little toxic.
And then I think it now gets to a point where, say somebody compliments you, it's just like,
I didn't believe them. And
I'm not pretty.
I had this thing where I believed people said things because they were nice.
No, because it is the truth.
Yeah, when someone was like, oh, you're so smart, I'm just like, either you dumb or you just being nice. Oh, you're so pretty. Where? I didn't believe it. And it got to a point where I was like, I need to learn how to love myself if I really want to love someone else. If I really want to love people, I can't claim.
And for you to receive love from outside, you need to
because
start
I started realizing that also meant that I was unable to receive some. I could give what I thought was love.
You were not able
but
to
I wasn't
receive
receiving it. And the other thing, I guess, the level of my toxicity towards myself was a little different. There are people out there that are so toxic towards themselves that all they bring or all they give out is negativity.
All they ever do is belittle other people. All they ever do is make sure that you're feeling shit about yourself. All they ever do is make you believe that you cannot do it. And I feel like we give them so much authority over our lives.
At the beginning of this year, I made a promise to myself that anything or anyone that was bringing negative vibes or bad vibes into my life, I'm canceling them out.
Cancel them out.
And I don't necessarily, it doesn't mean I'm angry at them. That's what people need to understand.
No.
Is that taking care of myself?
You're taking care of yourself. You're looking out for yourself.
Yeah, has nothing to do with you. Like, in all honesty, and not in a bad way, if you and I are in a situation where you are toxic and I have tried to give you the benefit of the doubt and I've tried to remove you from,
and you try
and I've tried,
but all you get is
toxicity, negativity, whatever ugly tea that there is. I am literally putting myself in front and saying, baby girl, you don't need this.
Sometimes
and removing myself.
Sometimes you need to be selfish, hey?
Sometimes
Just
you really
be selfish, like, yo, this is about me.
I am removing.
Screw that. This is about me.
I need, because the other thing is, if I don't remove myself from a negative situation, the next person isn't going to do it for me. If you are toxic,
and it's going to hurt so much.
If you are toxic, Vicky, you're not going to remove me from our toxic relationship, because this bad banter between us makes you happy.
It makes it feel superior.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to see me cry. You need
to
to
like
see
I'm
me
in control.
angry. You need to see me upset. If someone leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, deal with that.
Run. If you have to.
Either you run. If you want to talk to them about it, talk to them about it. If you want to address it in some way, address it in a way that helps you heal and helps you get the best out of life. But in most cases, I'm just like, sayonara, deuces, bye.
Bye. Girl, bye.
Girl, bye.
Bye.
I'm really not doing it because it's not worth it. At a certain point in a relationship or a friendship, it gets to a point where it's just not worth it. And if I weigh the pros and the cons of our friendship or our relationship, and I realize that you are so negative that there is nothing left. Hi guys, so in the first part of this week's episode, we talked about, or the last thing we talked about rather, was toxic friendships. Still stand by the fact that if a friendship is toxic, remove yourself.
Get out of it.
Get out of it. So to conclude, I think we should touch on the topic
relationships. If that nigger is toxic, do away with him. If that girl is toxic, do away with him. Because I think toxic environments, they now lead to abusive relationships. A toxic relationship leads to abusive.
Yeah, there's a kind of correlation or relationship.
Yeah. So before we get to a point where it's an abusive relationship, we need to deal with this toxic situation in it. If you feel like things are not going the way they should be going, leave. Rather, sit him down or her down and tell them how you feel about the situation, how you feel like the relationship is not serving what it's supposed to serve, or is not doing you good. You talk about it, and if you feel like you tried and it's not working out,
you made an effort,
then it's time to leave.
I think you'd rather leave a relationship on good terms than try and push, because a lot of people try and stay in relationships because of the memories. Oh, we built 5 years together. Oh, we built 10 years together. Oh. And sometimes the amount of time really doesn't matter.
It really does not.
So if you are in a relationship and it is toxic for you, and your reason for staying is that I've been with him for 5 years, if that's all you have to go. Take your memories.
I always
go.
Say to myself, before you met that person, you were
someone else,
and you thought they were your whole life. You were never gonna live without them, but you were still able to give them and to be with this current one. What makes you think you are not gonna survive if you do away with this current one? What makes you think you're not gonna be that you were now that you did away with?
And I think people need to recognize we have rough patches in relationships. We all have rough patches. There is a difference between a rough patch and a toxic environment. Sometimes you will go through a rough patch with your partner, but there's always a solution, or there's always a way out, or there's always something that you can do about it. But if you are broken in this relationship, if this relationship is broken, maybe you need to take a break, or maybe you need to end the relationship.
I feel like you should take a break, see if when you
come back together again,
the problem is gone. But if it's still there, then it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, there's certain problems that are just...
Also, my thing is, if now a relationship makes you feel less of a person, then that is not a good relationship. No matter how much you love that person, you need to let them go. If now you feel like you are not worthy of being loved, it's time for you to let them go. They are not serving the people that they should be serving. End it.
I mean, this is my point of view. I recognize that sometimes it can happen that you have a toxic situation in a relationship. Deal with it. Speak to your partner about it. Get through it. If you need therapy, go for therapy. If you need to sit down with a pastor or a rabbi or a sangoma, do whatever it needs to be done to deal with that relationship, if you can deal with that toxic part of it together. If you cannot deal with the toxic part of your relationship with your partner, leave. My other thing is, a lot of people find themselves in toxic relationships with their religion or with their faith. I'm gonna speak from the point of view of a Christian. I don't know about other faiths, studied a little bit, but the one thing that I know about my religion, or I really don't have to call it a religion, you know this, but the one thing that I know about my faith as a Christian is that the one thing that I am taught is to love. It doesn't say love one another only if, or love one another maybe when. Condition. It says love one another as you love yourself. Or as I have loved you. That means if there is ever a time where you are practicing anything in your faith, and this is towards my fellow Christians, like I said, I don't know much about other people's faiths or religious practices. If you are practicing anything that is Christian and there is no genuine love in it, even if you are correcting someone because you believe what they're doing is wrong, and there is no genuine love in it, you're gonna start becoming a very toxic person. That's where you start.
That's when they start belittling other people's religion.
That's where hate crimes come from. That's where people belittling other people's religions come from. That's where people start spewing hate in the name of the Bible. That's where people start spewing hate in the name of faith, in the name of whatever. If that is happening to you, get down on your knees and pray. You need to
be a better person.
You need to get you some prayer. Because the other thing, you are a representative of whatever faith you have. And trust and believe, I might not know everything about every faith, but the one thing that I know is I don't know of any faith that preaches hate, of any faith that preaches negativity.
See, this religion talk is, I feel like it's a topic on its own.
It's a topic on its
own. And
it's
a very sensitive topic that we need to go very carefully around it, because it offends a lot of people.
And you can touch a nerve, but I'm just gonna leave it at if there is no love in what you're doing, you are probably becoming a toxic representative of your faith. Just think about it.
And then I'm gonna sum it all up by trying to say a little about what I think we should all do if we realize that we're in toxic environments. If you feel like your friendship is toxic, like we said before, talk to them about it. If it's not changing, you need to cut it. You need to cut them. Let them know, I love you, but you're not serving the people that I want you to serve in my life. I've tried talking to you about it, but it's not happening. School, universities need to do something about this whole situation, because see, with universities, it's unfortunately something that is something that we cannot do anything about. They need to fix it. We cannot fix it because they expect us to act a certain way.
But the one thing we can do for one another is be there for each other. Make an effort to be there for someone, I promise I will make an effort. If she goes crazy, I will be there.
Because I'm about to go crazy.
Yeah, no, go.
I'm about to go crazy. And then with relationships, like you said, cut it. If it's not doing you good, you need to step out of the situation that make you feel like you're less of a person, that make you feel like you're worthless, basically, that you're not worth the love that you're not loved, you're not worth being nurtured. You know, just you need to get out of it and just realize that, you know what, I'm doing good on my own. I can do better on my own. I need to be at a point where I'm like, you know what, if Bobo doesn't love me, that's fine. If I don't have a boyfriend, I'm single for years, that's still fine because I have me and I'm okay with being me. Do you wanna add something?
My conclusion, my wrap up is actually short and sweet. I think you know, like I talk a lot. You need to learn to love yourself, because that's when you are able to see if you are in a toxic environment or if you're toxic towards yourself, and you are able to deal with it or leave it. It is very important to learn to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't teach the next person to love you. If you don't love yourself, you don't know how to give love. Sometimes, most of the time, you don't even know how to receive love. In learning to love myself, I have learned that there are certain situations I don't need to subject myself to. And in learning that, I've learned to cut people that aren't necessary for me, to cut people that hurt me. No matter what, if someone is a negative entity in my life, ngiyalikhipha leli dibon. Yeah, like I can't. And that came to me in learning how to love myself. So for me, that would be my advice to people is you need to learn to love yourself, and not just on the surface. You need to learn to love yourself from the inside out.
Exactly. So that you know
like
when
a little flower, so you blossom.
That's when so much that you know when it's time to let go.
Exactly.
Like, we've been doing good, now it's time to let go.
Because also learning to let go is very hard, especially when you love someone. And sometimes letting go means you have to learn how to let go of negative traits that you have been holding on to, like self-pity. That does you no good. Bye bye self-pity.
Okay guys, it's been so great. It's been so great. I feel like I've learned a lot just talking about this thing. I feel like I'm gonna be a changed person. I'm going to love myself some more,
and
love those around me some more.
Yeah, because everyone needs some love.
And you guys, it's been real. Thank you for tuning in.
I really hope you
Do
enjoyed.
not forget to
subscribe.
Until we meet again next week, right? Yeah. Stay tuned for next week's topic. Like I said before, we're never gonna tell you what's the next topic because we wanna keep it fresh.